Have you walked into a gun shop lately, looked at the revolver case, and felt like half the good stuff just vanished overnight? I have. For years, I have been chasing lightweight wheel guns, and in 2026, I am seeing models quietly disappear from catalogs long before they disappear from concealed carry holsters. The story today is market disappearance first, physical disappearance second. Companies are washing their hands of slow selling, expensive to build snubs, even while hardcore revolver nerds keep carrying them every day. In this video, I am counting down 10 of the lightest defensive revolvers that are getting harder to find, and I will break down why the market is pushing them into smaller and smaller corners. We will talk about materials like scandium and titanium, the micro-compact 9mm wave, and the cold math that makes bean counters hate low-volume SKUs. If you are a wheel gun person, this list is part wish list and part warning. Think about the last time you saw a truly exciting new revolver launch. It probably had to fight for attention against 10 different compact pistols and 3 optics-ready slides on display. Before we dive into number 10, let me explain how I picked these. Weight alone does not decide anything. A 6-ounce novelty does not belong in the same category as an 11-ounce backup gun a cop actually trusted on duty. Every revolver on this list is unusually light for its role, and most of them are chambered in serious defensive rounds like .38 Special Plus P or .357 Magnum. They all have real-world carry use, not just collector bragging rights. I also looked at how crowded their slot is inside the manufacturer's lineup and how much competition they face from cheaper, easier-to-build semi-autos. When a company has 3 overlapping snubs and 6 different micro 9mm pistols, that weird, expensive revolver sitting on the end of the shelf is usually living on borrowed time. Number 10 is a pair of modern snake guns, the Colt Cobra and the Colt King Cobra Carry. On paper, they are not the lightest here, running in the mid-20-ounce range, but they are important because they show how even premium brands are getting squeezed. You get 6 rounds instead of 5, stainless construction, excellent triggers, and classic Colt style. The trade-off is price and weight. These guns feel amazing on the belt, yet they are heavy for pocket duty and cost more than many striker-fired pistols right next to them in the case. When a shopper can grab a high-capacity polymer pistol with a rail for less money, the snakes start to look like passion projects. That puts them squarely on the list of models that may survive only as limited runs for collectors instead of mainstream defensive tools. At number 9, we have the Taurus 856 Ultralight. This is the blue-collar 6-shooter that tries to bring an extra round to the budget snub fight. With an aluminum frame and compact dimensions, it keeps weight around the mid-teens while still holding 6 rounds of .38 Special Plus P. In the hand, it feels chunky compared to a J-frame, but not uncomfortable, and recoil is sharp but workable with good grips and reasonable ammo. The real story is market pressure. Taurus sells mountains of polymer pistols that are cheaper to assemble, easier to shoot well, and more profitable per unit. When accounting looks at slow-turning ultralight revolvers that still require more fitting, those guns become easy targets for trimming the catalog. The 856 line will probably stay, but certain lightweight versions could quietly vanish when factory capacity shifts toward the latest micro-pistol launch. Number 8 is the Charter Arms Undercover Light, a revolver that practically defined the wallet-weight snub. This 5-shot .38 rides on a very light aluminum frame, with a steel barrel and cylinder, often coming in around 12 ounces. In a pocket holster or on an ankle rig, it almost disappears, and that is exactly why so many people fell in love with it. The downside is that such a small company lives or dies on thin margins and small batch production. Quality control can be good, but it is not built on the same industrial scale as the big brands. In a market where new shooters are hypnotized by optics-ready micro 9s, a featherweight .38 from a niche maker is a tough sell. That means fewer big shop orders, more special runs, and eventually far less visibility on the wall unless you already know to ask for it. Number 7 goes to the Kimber K6Xs. Kimber came late to the dedicated lightweight defense revolver game, but the K6 set shows they understand what shooters want in a carry snub. It is a 6-shot .38 Special Plus P built on an alloy frame, landing in the mid-teen ounce range, with excellent sights and one of the better out-of-the-box double-action triggers around. In practice, that means it shoots softer and more precisely than many tiny J-frames. The problem is not performance, it is business. Kimber is a relatively small player in the handgun world, And the revolver cuts have to compete against their own 1911s and polymer striker-fired pistols for factory resources. A premium-priced snub aimed at enthusiasts is never going to move numbers like a mid-priced carry pistol. That makes revolvers like the K6Xs prime candidates for low volume, sometimes available, sometimes not production. Sitting at number 6 is the Ruger LCRX with the short 1.87-inch barrel. Think of this as the exposed hammer cousin of the core Ruger LCR. You still get the monolithic aluminum frame, the polymer fire control housing, and the friction-reducing cam trigger system that made the LCR famous. You still get a 5-shot 38 Special Plus P cylinder and a weight in the low to mid-teens. What changes is that external hammer spur. It lets you thumbcock for precise single-action shots, which some old-school shooters love, but it also makes the gun more likely to snag when drawn from a pocket or deep cover holster. From a market standpoint, that niche appeal is exactly what puts it at risk. If Ruger ever needs to simplify the line, hammer guns like the LCRX will be the first to go while the core hammerless models stay. Number 5 is the original Ruger LCR, the polymer-framed revolution that proved snub-nose revolvers could be modern without feeling cheap. The heart of the design is that mix of aluminum or steel up front with a polymer fire control module in back. In 38 Special Plus P trim. With a short barrel, it hits that 13-ounce sweet spot where it carries all day, yet still shoots better than many airweight competitors. The trigger is famously smooth for a mass-produced snub, and aftermarket support for grips. Sights and holsters is strong. The irony is that Ruger's own success with lightweight, high-capacity pistols steals oxygen from the LCR family. When the marketing department wants to push a new striker-fired carry gun, the LCR rarely gets top billing. Over time, marginal calibers and odd variants may disappear, leaving only 1 or 2 core models for die-hard revolver fans. 4th place belongs to the Smith & Wesson Model 442 and Model 642 airweights, arguably the default answer to the question, what snub nose should I buy? For several generations. These 5-shot 38 plus PJ frames use an aluminum alloy frame with steel barrel and cylinder to keep weight in the mid-teens. The enclosed hammer centennial pattern makes them ideal for pocket draws and shooting from inside a coat or purse. They kick more than heavier steel snubs, but the long double action pull is predictable with practice, and the design has an enormous track record as a backup gun. Market disappearance here is a little different. The guns themselves are too iconic to kill, but their role is shrinking fast. As more new shooters skip straight to striker-fired compacts, these airweights risk becoming grandpa guns that store stock in small numbers and often tuck at the back of the shelf. Number 3 is the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 38, the oddball polymer-framed cousin to the classic J-frame. It keeps the 5-shot 38 Special Plus P formula, but mixes a steel barrel insert with an aluminum upper and a polymer grip module. Many models ship with an integrated laser, and the enclosed hammer keeps the profile smooth. The trigger feel is different from the standard J-frame system and has never earned the same love from traditional revolver shooters. From a product manager's angle, the Bodyguard sits in an awkward gap. It costs more to make than a very basic snub, but it lacks the capacity and modularity of micro 9mm pistols at similar price points. When resources get tight, hybrid experiments like this are the ones that quietly slide into discontinued status while the company focuses on its core M&P pistols and evergreen airweight J-frames. Runner-up status at number 2 goes to the North American Arms .22 Magnum Mini Revolver family. These tiny stainless single-action guns weigh only a few ounces and can literally vanish in the palm of your hand, a watch pocket, or a disguised holster. 5 rounds of .22 Magnum out of a very short barrel are better than nothing in a bad situation, and that deep concealment capability is no joke. But the same features that make them disappear physically also limit their mainstream appeal. Single-action recocking, tiny grips, and a rimfire cartridge are a hard sell when first-time buyers are comparing them to compact pistols with red dots and double-digit capacity. The result is that NAA Minis mostly live in enthusiast circles and specialty shops. They are not likely to vanish completely. Yet they have already disappeared from the everyday carry conversation for most serious defensive shooters. Taking the number 1 spot are the Smith & Wesson M&P 340 and 340 PD, the ultimate expression of the ultralight fighting snub and maybe the clearest example of market disappearance in slow motion. These J-frame revolvers use scandium alloy frames and, in the case of the 340 PD, a titanium cylinder to keep weight around 11 ounces while still handling .357 Magnum. On paper, it is the dream. Real Magnum power in a gun that vanishes in a pocket or on an ankle. In reality, recoil is brutal with full power loads, sights are short, and meaningful practice demands serious commitment. For a long time, these guns held a special place as backup weapons for cops and dedicated carriers willing to trade comfort on the range for comfort on the belt. Now, they sit in a weird space. They are expensive to build, appeal to a tiny slice of the market, and have to compete with light, flat Micro 9s that average shooters handle better. If any revolver on this list ends up as a legend you can no longer order new, it will probably be this one. That wraps up our tour of the 10 lightest revolvers that are disappearing more from the market than from concealed carry. These guns prove that a compact wheel gun can still ride comfortably on the body and deliver fight-stopping rounds. But they also show how fast the handgun world is tilting toward high-capacity polymer pistols. If there is a model on this list you have always wanted, the lesson is simple. Do not assume it will be on the shelf forever. Drop a comment and tell me which one you would still trust as a backup or deep concealment gun. Hit like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. As always, hold them down.